video cards in download mode. I scream in static, breathing rust, and all I built will turn to dust.
First of all, John, tell me about Dirt Sheet Radio. Am I talking to the Dirt Sheets here?
Here we are on an episode of another Tuesday night. I'm stumbling over my words because it's been too long since we've been here, Tyler. Lovely to see you and Molly, of course. Welcome, everyone, to the Dirt Sheet Radio NXT post-show rewind here on Dirt Sheet Radio. CJ Carter, joined as always by Tyler, the pro wrestling hipster. My guy,
hey,
how
everybody.
You been?
Oh, man, can't complain. You know, summer is, we are well into it now, really. It's been a while. It's been since March. And yeah, I feel a little out of practice here. Much like Booker T, we have been gone for quite some time, but have returned tonight to break down and discuss everything that's been going on in the NXT verse. And see, I'm going to say real quick, I'm having a hard time hearing you over the background music.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I will turn that down. So, in the meantime, we didn't get the chance to talk about Great American Bash. Did you have any comments about the show?
Just real quick, just kind of a few things that are more general about the show itself. You know, this was the first PLE. I'm still calling it it's still a premium live event, I guess. Now I can't call it a pay-per-view because I'm 100% not paying for it. I mean, technically you still are up in Canada there because it's on Netflix.
Very
there,
technically.
But yeah. So, being the first PLE on broadcast television, at least here in the States, I was a little concerned that it was going to feel like, one of the Tuesday night specials, Gold Rush or something like that. And it really didn't. The CW was adamant about it being a 3-hour show, which is why it had 7 matches on the card, where typically they've been doing the 5 card shows. And it felt like a PLE. It had a great flow. And I said this on the hipster page as well, but I was really impressed that a show that was on free television somehow felt like it had fewer advertisements and commercials than WrestleMania did, and it had better pacing. So props to the developmental brand on that. And I mean, the matches themselves were great. And I have to say, I was beyond elated that, Kendall was able to get it done and was able to capture that women's championship. We'll talk about that tonight a bit too, because as to be expected, Kendall's playing a prominent role.
Very prominent
here. But CJ, man, what'd you think of the Bash?
I thought the Bash was awesome. I disagree from the sense of it felt like a special episode of NXT, and I don't know if it was just because they were in the Performance Center or because it was on the CW and there were commercial breaks. Like, I'm used to the PLEs having the ads, kind of integrated into the show as opposed to a traditional commercial break. So that's still kind of not took me out of the show, but
I'm sorry, I just hit a cat. I do agree with it being in the Performance Center. I would have preferred it to have been a show on the road. I think the CW probably would have liked the visual of that as well. I forgot what I was going to say right after that. Goodness gracious, it has been too long. I'm falling. I usually don't derail myself. 8 minutes into this.
We usually derail ourselves like 20 minutes in or something.
Far further in. Goodness, it'll come back to me, I'm sure.
All right. Well, we might as well get started talking about tonight's edition of NXT, also taking place from the Performance Center.
Oh, sorry. I just remembered. There it was.
Oh, sure.
I know that normally you do not get picture-in-picture during NXT. Did they do picture-in-picture this time for...
Well, since they've moved to Netflix, we actually get full show during commercial breaks sometimes.
Okay. So, now I will say that was something that I made note of on the hipster page as well, but there were no breaks in the matches. Like, they went to commercial, but they had the picture-in-picture for every single match, which they don't normally do, even when they do it on NXT. Like tonight, I think the only time they did it here was for EK Prosper, which was an interesting choice. But hey, they wanted to get the stuff in. They like him, They had to. I think they did that because they felt bad.
Sorry, you kind of cut out at the end there.
I said I feel like they did that because they felt bad because they knew that Booker was going to take a phone call. That was the match he takes a phone call during, right? Like, so, yeah. But anyway, so back into what you're saying. We are live. We're in the Performance Center.
Yeah, it's another episode of NXT. You mentioned Kendall Gray, the new NXT Women's Champion. She kicked off the show with a winning celebration of her own. One thing that I thought was going to lead to something that kind of didn't was her and Ren talking backstage, Ren deciding to give Kendall her moment. I thought that was like kind of the start of fracturing, but then no, she came out afterwards. She actually brought Kendall a cake.
Yeah,
there's
a lot of she loves 2-layer cake. There's not a whole lot of true character development I feel that they've done for Kendall beyond All-American Girl, wrestled, and that she loves cake. That is something they have brought up time after time, and I agree with you, CJ. I felt that it was a little off at first, but I thought it was an odd choice to have Ren kind of walk her to the curtain and be like, okay, go. But then I thought, okay, if Ren hadn't come out with her, I think that would have thrown some questions up. So I feel like that's probably the primary reason why they had her say, go have your moment. And like you said, they had her come out anyway. She brought the cake. They enjoyed some cake. But that wasn't all that happened out there. As they were trying to enjoy a 2-layer cake, which I feel like there's a significance or a joke there. I watch a lot of the Wednesday bits every week, and they've discussed cake at length on there as well. But there was to be an interruption because this is pro wrestling, and no one gets to celebrate for too long. Kalani Jordan making her presence known, and making her case for a shot at this championship. Kind of making it sound like she's been passed over for championship opportunities, and I really feel like Kalani Jordan's had a lot of chances and things over the last couple of years. For crying out loud, she was a fairly long reigning, at least in terms of modern TNA, a fairly long reigning Knockouts champion. And I thought she did a good job with that. But so she came out to stir a little pot, and she didn't get too much time to aggravate the new champ, as she was jumped by Tatum Paxley, who every single week I think is going to be her last week on this show. And Tatum takes Kalani down, and they brawl away. And I'm shocked every week that she shows back up. I'm surprised.
Well, and I mean, we're going to talk about it at the end of the show, but I think she is going to be sticking around even longer than just tonight. But that will come later on in the show, actually, our main event. But then, of course, while they fight, the champs, both champs, hanging out in the ring, eating some cake.
It was almost they shouted "Welcome to NXT," and it very felt like a live from New York. This is Saturday night, kind of into the sketch. And I just want to be like, I need to find out: is there a former SNL writer that just started with NXT? Because man, that felt like an opening sketch. And I want to say before we move on from the segment, Kendall Gray. I liked that they leaned into her not being the most charismatic human being to ever pick up a microphone. She's not dead on the mic, but she acknowledges that that's not her strong suit as a wrestler, that wrestling is her strong suit. And I think that, we're talking some time here, before she gets up to the main roster, that is something they're going to have to suss out, and they're going to have to build that character up for her. She is going to have to get more comfortable. And I like, though, that she lean into that and said that, hey, I'm going to stumble. Sometimes when I talk, I may not sound like a champion, but I will be your champion. And I thought that was great because it kind of gives her a little bit of a safety net to misstep on some of her words. And hey, that's what developmental's for. And people got to realize how little time Kendall has actually been in this company. She flew through Evolve and right onto NXT proper and is now the women's champion. It's been a really, really quick rise for her. So it's good to give her a little bit of a little grace on the microphone, I think.
There's been a few Evolve acts that have really done well for themselves. Kendall Gray being one, Vanity Project being the other big one, coming in, winning titles right away. You mentioned when we were talking about Kalani Jordan, some of the opportunities that she has gotten. One that I was going to mention, you brought up her Knockouts reign. I was going to bring up she was the first women's North American champion. And, the fact that they had enough trust in her at that point to be the first champion and sort of set the tone for what they wanted that North American title to be. That being said, do you see a women's title reign for Kalani in the future?
Yeah, I do, because I think they have the time to do it. I don't necessarily know that she's going to be the one to eventually topple Kendall. I think they're going to see how. I think they are going to be kind of playing it by ear a little bit with Kendall here, because it does feel very quick. It's deserved. She's very good. But back on Kalani, I do think that she will have a run with it before the main roster, in large part because there is so little room on the main roster right now. She has to be in NXT for a while. And I would have a hard time thinking it wouldn't happen in the next, 18 months, And I think she's going to be there for at least another 18.
It's one of those things that I hate the bottleneck that ends up happening when you get NXT call-ups, because the main roster, yes, they had some releases earlier this year, but when you look at the people who got released, I don't want to say they weren't doing anything, but they weren't doing anything that obviously was important enough to keep their job.
Right.
So whose spot are they taking? Is it one of those? No one is going to be like an Oba Femi.
Right.
Coming in, first feud right out of the box with Brock Lesnar. Guys like Trick, guys like Javon, who find success so early on in their tenure on the main roster. And I'm like, it's hard to motivate the next generation, because you have essentially 2 generations of NXT, well, more than 2 generations of NXT talent on the main roster that's doing really well for themselves. And the people are stretching out their careers longer now than they were in the past. So, yeah, 18 months feels like a long time to be down in NXT. I think she may be down there longer.
Yeah, it could be closer to 2 years or more, really. And you're right, the length of careers, I keep saying, but between peptides and stem cells, Rey Mysterio may never retire. Like he's going to wrestle his grandchildren at SummerSlam one year. I'm telling you, Dom's gonna.
I mean, he might never die.
No, you're right.
Like,
they said the first man to live to 300 is alive right now, and my God, it's Rey Mysterio Jr.
All right. Anything we want to talk about with this opening segment?
Nothing else on that. Just just chaos in the backstage from here.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like we head right to backstage. Keanu Carver standing over Vikingo, who was supposed to defend his championship against EK Prosper tonight. Unfortunately, from what I've learned, Vikingo was injured during rehearsal, so he might have to vacate the Latin American Championship.
That's not good.
No.
That's bad. I obviously injury for any reason is always a terrible circumstance. But getting hurt during a rehearsal.
Yeah, not even during the match itself.
Didn't he? I mean, wasn't he just hurt relatively recently?
I think he had a scare. I don't know if he was actually...
Okay, was he actually hurt? Okay. But man, that is okay. That is awful if that's the case. I wonder what exactly happened.
Yeah, beats me. I don't know the nature of the injury either. It might even just be a stinger, and they called the match off for his own sake.
Right. Could be something as rather why risk the All-Star game when you've got the finals coming up, kind of a thing,
Yeah, something like that.
Because AAA does have a show coming up in end of July. Yeah, weekend of Heatwave. Yeah, so
which is that not the same show?
I thought it was a Saturday Sunday type thing. Is it the same show? I was unclear on that.
Because I remember it was double booked with they're I can't remember the term. They're booking against AEW again that same day, and I think they're only the one day.
July 25th is what I'm getting on the Google, but
for Heatwave 2026?
No, for the next AAA show. Heatwave. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I love that. So I don't know how the weather is where you guys are right now, but we are actually dealing with a literal heat wave in this part of the country right now. So when I Googled that, Heatwave 2026, it's literally giving me
just
the
news
weather.
About.
Yeah, and it's just telling me about sadly, people not having proper AC. August 30th. So.
Oh, still ways away.
Yeah, it's further away than I thought it was. For some reason, I thought it was the end of July, but yeah, this wrestling, and there's a lot of shows that happen at once, and just this past weekend, there was so much.
There really is. Especially this past weekend was just Slammiversary, Great American Bash. Was it Double or Nothing or
Forbidden Door?
What was the
Forbidden Door?
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah,
right.
Forbidden Door. Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking Double or Nothing. But yeah, so the match is called off. Vikingo is not cleared to compete. Then we hit a commercial break. We come back. We have Zarya and Izzy Dame in the back talking about championships and the women's locker room and whatnot. But then they're drowned out by some loud-ass rock music coming from the locker room. Lizzie Rain just rocking out in the locker room, having a great time. I hope we see more of more success in Lizzie Rain's future.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
She's a fantastic character.
She is such a fun character. She's so just charismatic and colorful and larger than life. And I mean, people love a nice 80s throwback. They genuinely do.
Oh, yeah. So from there, we see Kalani talking to Robert Stone. She's pissed off. She wants Tatum. That main event is scheduled for later in the night. But Stone was actually looking for Keanu Carver because he wanted to tear a strip off him for ruining that title match tonight. So he gets EK Prosper one-on-one later in the night. Now, this is one of those things about NXT where sometimes the main roster does it as well, so I can't just blame NXT, but we're about 15 minutes into the show by this point, and we're finally having our first match.
Yep.
the NXT Tag Team Championships on the line. Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. and his brother Galeno taking on the Vanity Project, the NXT Tag Team Champions. This was a solid match.
It was.
All the way
it was.
through. Very hard hitting. Good back and forth action, I would say, throughout the match.
Oh yeah.
Now, this isn't the first time we've seen Wagner in NXT, but it is the first time we've seen his brother. What did you think of this team?
You know, I like them. Like it's one of those instances where the dudes are a little too thick to move the way they do. I gotta say, like, it was a different type of setup, but I enjoyed this tag match more than I enjoyed the Day of the Dead match.
Really?
That way. Yeah, I guess for some, I don't know. I don't know what it was about that. That match just for some reason didn't quite click with me, but I really like this. I like them as a team here. I'd say I hope we're going to see more of this. I know we are, because like you said, we are now leading into the AAA and NXT cross promotion. I think we're basically going to see the same kind of stuff we saw with the TNA crossover. Except now everything is actually under one owned roof, so they can do whatever they want. But I dug this a lot. I thought the match was solid. I mean, the Vanity Project, it still struggles. It's still a struggle for me not to call them Swipe Right. I think they still could have called Baylor and Smoke Swipe Right within the Vanity Project, because once again, the Vanity Project is 4 people. So they could do that, but you know, whatever. They just like to do things to upset me from time to time. But man, they sell and bump their asses off. You're like, it's like you're working with, you know, like 2 little Shawn Michaelses in like 1989, just bouncing around there. And they're great at that, and they look great doing it. They make everybody they wrestle look really good. And you know, I'm not shocked at the outcome here with them retaining the championships here. Makes complete sense. I think they'll be chased a little bit longer, and they need to get some more defenses in. They made a point of that later tonight during a backstage segment where some of the other tag teams were complaining about the dearth of title defenses they've had. But it was a little while, about 15 minutes into the show before the match. They did go 10 minutes and 11 seconds, so they didn't shirk too much on the in-ring time there, but they should get to it a little more quickly going forward. Like I said, Raw, the main roster, Raw's been so guilty of that over the decades. I'll say at this point, like I say over the years, the decades of 20-minute opening promos. I don't know how that started, but I blame Triple H because he used to do that a lot.
I'll also blame Triple H for that. Why not?
Well, and now he's booking it, so it's absolutely his fault.
It's definitely. You know what? We should blame Vince McMahon now.
You're right. It was Vince's fault first, and then
anytime it happened in Vince's era, it was Triple H's fault. Now that it's Triple H's era, it's Vince's fault.
There we go. Easy peasy.
So you mentioned earlier we had a bit of a tag team summit happening in the backstage area. Birthright, OTM, Dark State, Sean Legacy without his tag team partner, because I guess Dorian Van Duke's took a wrong turn somewhere.
In Albuquerque? Is that usually that's where that happens typically, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I love Romeo, by the way, just popping up in the background there.
Well, and this was the interesting part of this segment for me, because they make a Fatal 4-Way #1 contenders match with all the teams here except for Romeo and Noam. They basically got a rebuff from Stone saying, do better, do more, earn that title shot. Which I thought
Romeo was a little dejected, but Noam Dar was very positive, about keeping to the grind and whatnot, which is good. I really like this pairing, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, Noam is one of those characters that I think just plays really well on TV, no matter what he's doing. And obviously, they have some sort of faith in Moreno if they're gonna give him this much TV time with Noam Dar.
Right.
So that was set for next week. Then we we go back to the ring. Private Party, Jesus, I keep doing that. I keep calling them Private Party. Vanity Project. Still in the ring because Jackson Drake is taking on Mason Rook. Now, this was a good match. I definitely enjoyed it. The one thing that I thought was really out of place was the cam.
Yeah, that's
midway
what this
through
was.
the
I
match.
think so. Yeah,
Booker
It was
T's
so
cell
jarring.
phone rings, and you hear it through the speakers. Even Vic at one point was like, "Your phone's hooked up with the production trailer."
Yeah, he asked me, since when is your phone? It was also jarring because it was the same ringtone that the Fog used during the Great American Bash when the phone rang under the ring and Tristan Angels answered it. And and I don't know if they're going to establish that the Fog is something separate from Shiloh Hill, but
Well, the way they shot it, since we're talking about it, like the way they shot it at the Bash, it was obviously pre-recorded.
yes, yeah,
But for Booker to be like, "How the hell did he do that?" Or Wade to be like, "How the hell did he do that?" and just teleporting outside the ring, and he does kind of touch on it a little bit later on in the show,
Right.
but it'll be interesting to see where he ends up going with that. But anyway, so we get Jackson Drake versus Mason Rook. Solid match.
yeah. If they had
I
put
thought
that
this
phone
was
call in it, this would have been no complaints.
100%. And I mean, you get. I don't know what the deal is with Mason Rook, but unfortunately, he just has not been having any luck so far on NXT whatsoever. Jackson Drake gets the win after Vanity Project interferes behind the referee's back, but then you have what the hell's her? Lockwood. Yeah. Micah Lockwood holding Rook's foot down to help prevent the kick out, which, I mean, you have to lift your shoulder. So I've never understood what the holding down the foot does.
Yeah, maybe by pulling the leg there, it discombobulates the muscle, so you really can't get the shoulder up. It's like, it's like a pressure point type thing. It deadens the. I got nothing. But they were trying to give him an out, to make it understandable. And man, that size difference, they had to do something, and that's why a guy like Jackson Drake has the Vanity Project and kind of his own version of China there, in some ways. Outstanding match though, for the size differential. These guys went at it, and again, Jackson Drake, just like Baylor and Smokes, the kid can sell his ass off. Getting turned inside out on those clotheslines. The lion salt stomp that he did to Mason Rook just looked nasty. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. They did a great job. I mean, actually, just beside the match, I just have the word "wow" written and underlined, and then of course the stuff about the phone call. But like again, other than the cam, just the disrespectful cam. Which,
yeah.
And again, I understand, like, he's, beefing with Mason Rook, hello again, Celeste. Beefing with Mason Rook, and Booker T just pleased his punch that, Cam Hendricks FaceTimed him when he's at work.
Yeah, exactly.
And Cam knows that. Unless
it's
Cam,
Tuesday night.
Unless Cam thought that by chance Book was still on vacation. That is a possibility. He's been gone for weeks.
Yeah, that's true too. But yeah, I don't hate Cam Hendricks as a wrestler, as a character. I think he's going to do well. This segment, though, for whatever reason, I just
obnoxious.
Yeah, I wasn't picking it up.
If it was designed to make me not like Cam Hendricks, they did a good job with that. Like, and I really thought you were about to be like, I like him this way, but I just detest his phone etiquette. Just absolutely abysmal.
I try not to be on the phone anytime period. Like my partner just hates that I don't like talking on the phone. It's one of those. I'll talk if I have to, but no, I don't care about phone action. One thing I did want to mention though before we move on, Ricky Smokes got quite the beat down from Rook after the match, eh?
Yeah, and and that's another thing to add in there. Rook got a little bit of his, heat back, as they say, by getting to put the boots to a couple of the Vanity Project members there, getting to line them up for that double cannonball in the corner, which I always thought that move looked really devastating when Kevin Owens did it. It looks so much scarier when Mason Rook does it. He's such a big man. He reminds me so much of Bam Bam. Bigelow, not Terry Gordon.
And not Barney's baby.
No, what an insult that would be. Although Mason Rook does have a very young face and eyes that are far too kind for as violent as he is capable of being.
And you know what? I'm pretty sure Bam Bam could have body slammed Barney. So
yeah,
he could body slam your dad.
Boom! Full circle right there. Don't come after us, Hanna-Barbera.
So, after this match, we had a backstage segment, EK Prosper getting hyped up by Tate Wilder for his match with Keanu Carver, which was coming up next. After that, Callie Armstrong in Robert Stone's office. She wants next shot at the Women's Championship, but Robert Stone said he can't hand out title shots. But he did say, actions speak louder than words.
He needs to quit telling people shit like that. Like every time a GM, and especially Stone, this is how we got Keanu Carver just running people down. And and the same thing happened with oh my gosh, his name fell out of my head. The dude with the fake chain.
Yeah.
See?
I was thinking about him earlier in the night, and I'm like, Jasper Troy. Like, Jasper Troy is the same thing. He's like, make an impact. And, then he just goes and ruins a bunch of perfectly good matches. So, Stone really needs to change his rhetoric when he's talking to wrestlers and explaining what he expects from them and how he wants to move them up the ladder. And by the way, Stone's all, I don't hand out title shots. But we'll see what he does later tonight. Starts handing out title shots.
He is a liar. This is what happens when Luca Crucifino loses his job and there's no longer lawyer representative at NXT. This is what happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, no one to lobby the quote-unquote wrestlers union.
Exactly.
So our next up match, EK Prosper taking on Keanu Carver. This match again set up earlier in the night because Carver didn't like the fact that EK was getting a title match. So here we are. This was another entertaining match, I thought. Prosper actually getting the win when... Okay, so if you didn't catch the bash, one thing that happened was Keanu Carver pushed Hank Walker off the stage through a table.
Yeah.
So in comes Tank to get retribution behind the ref's back during this match. He ends up pushing him through the LED barricade, and this was a very hard-hitting match.
Yeah.
But the interference from Tank was enough for... I love this shot. Tank's just like, man, I'm standing.
As the LED board is split in twain. He give him the old Alfred E. Newman. Who? Me? Why worry? But yeah, this was great. And again, talking about a mix of styles, EK Prosper is just such a, quick, high-flying wrestler, and, Keanu Carver, just a much more ground-based, hard-hitting striker. I like the mix of styles. And I like that, going into the match, the reason that EK Prosper was telling Tate Wilder, all these new people in NXT, by the way, we have to go through this once every year and a half or 2 years, where a whole bunch of new names that are kind of silly come in, and we have to remember them all again. But Tate Wilder, when he was talking to EK backstage, EK said that he was ready to fight the Kingo. He was ready for another high flyer. He was ready for a luchador, and this is just such a different style, and that's why he was worried about the match, which I like things like that too, because it's such a real sports feel. I mean, imagine a UFC fighter planning for like 3 months to fight somebody. Obviously it wasn't that long in this case, but then like the day of the UFC show, they find out they're fighting somebody else. They would never even let that happen. Like
only in pro wrestling can you have a substitute opponent at the last second.
And that time that Ken Shamrock was supposed to fight Kimbo Slice. Ken Shamrock, Shamrock, actually, I'm not going to say he got hurt during rehearsal like the Kingo, but he got hurt training for the fight. He got his eye busted open really badly, and and someone else fought. I can't remember who fought Kimbo at that show, but he took the fight basically like that week, and he lost too, which is why you don't take fights on short notice. But hey, that didn't seem to affect old EK Prosper, formerly Eli Knight. But they had to change that.
Any chance you get to just drop a
I have to. I have to when I can. But no, I like this a lot. I think EK Prosper's good. I like Keanu Carver a lot. I feel like they have been able to capture more with Keanu Carver what they wanted with Jasper Troy.
Valid. And ironic considering that was his first feud in NXT was against Jasper Troy. They just didn't really set themselves up for success with Jasper Troy that way either.
And there's time. It's developmental. There's plenty of time because he's not bad and he's got a great look. He's scary. But I think that they're going to have to rehab his character at least a bit. That's probably why he's not been on TV super duper consistently either.
Well, and even talking about Troy and Carver, Josh Briggs. Another guy that we haven't seen in quite some time. That's kind of fallen off.
Yeah, every time I don't say this to be disrespectful to Josh Briggs, but every time there are a round of releases, I expect.
You think he's going to be in it?
Yeah, and he's not. Like, it's just nuts. Like, looking back to how long we've been doing this, the fact that of one of the original groups that were together when we started doing these rewinds, Fallon Henley being the person to make it to the main roster first out of those three individuals. Thought for sure it would have been Briggs. Thought for sure. But hey, it's wrestling and you never know. Really, you can never say for certain who's going to click, who's going to be a breakout star. People surprise you, and she's doing good up there. She's doing a good job. So I'm
absolutely.
Happy for her,
Well, Fatal Influence in general.
Yeah.
Like, I know Lainey Reed has a singles match, I think, against Charlotte Flair coming up this Friday. Like, that's huge for her. Lainey
is another one who got good so fast, or maybe she was just better than I gave her credit for when I first saw her. But she was smoking in matches before heading up with Fatal Influence. I always wonder if Jasmine Nix is upset somewhere that she didn't stick it out a little bit longer.
I mean, if you don't enjoy it...
Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
The
life isn't for everybody, yeah. I mean, I don't think I'd want to be on the road 300 days a year, so...
No, I run into that with my partner. She's on the road good chunk of the year, so I miss her.
It's tough, man.
So, back we go to Stone's office.
This hypocrite!
We'll get there. Originally, we see just Stone and Kendall. They're talking about the Fatal 4-Way #1 contenders match for the Women's North American title. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, of course, in walks Natalya and her crew. She wants a title match. And what did Robert Stone say earlier about title matches?
I think he said very... sternly that he doesn't just hand out title matches. You have to earn them.
Well, and to be fair, Natalya, if there is any...
To be fair!
I remember, Roman Reigns, John Cena, they do the same thing where it's like they just walk up out of nowhere and it's like, hey, I want a match for that title. And GM just gives it to them. Kind of the same thing. Like, I can see
Right.
Natalya getting away with that just because of how tenured she is, and frankly, how good she is.
That's true. That's fair. It is Natty, but that's also got to somewhere. Callie Armstrong had to be mad about that.
Well, I imagine so, but we'll talk more about Callie Armstrong in a little bit. Our next match, we had Jada Parker taking on Carmen Petrovic, which another solid match tonight. I really enjoyed the action tonight. This very hard-hitting match, which we've come to kind of expect with Carmen. At one point in the match, Nikita Lyons and Natalya get involved, and Layla Diggs didn't want any part of it, but that was enough to fuel Jada to get the win. Yeah, solid match. What did you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I think this was actually the shortest match of the night. It was 4 minutes 47 seconds, but they got done when they needed to get done. It's good to see Jada getting wins. I just feel like Jada they've jerked her back and forth so much, and I think it's just because there are so many talented women on NXT that it gets so cluttered, and I think sometimes people get kind of knocked around and lost in the shuffle. But I say this pretty much every time they kind of start to reset her. I think this one might be it. Because they're doing an interesting story with her this time around. Not that they haven't done good stories with her before, but typically when you're gunning for someone who's the leader of a faction, as Natty is here, and I love what they're doing with Natty here. I love that she's interacting not just with NXT wrestlers, but being so involved in Evolve as well. I think it helps from the training aspect and help to elevate these, this next generation of women. Excuse me, goodness gracious. But I fell off my train. It's happened twice now, CJ. I just fell completely off. I was going somewhere with that.
Okay.
Here we are. It's right there.
Okay, so that's twice now. I start talking to try and jump the conversation, and you're automatically just like,
right there. It's what John said. It's how it works. But I feel like typically when you're gunning for someone who's the head of a faction, as Natty is here, you go through everyone first, and then you go at the leader. In this instance, she went for the head of the snake first, and she got bit and put down, and now she's working her way back up to eventually wrestling and conquering Natty. And I like this. I hope this is something that can actually get her up to where she needs to be, and maybe get her to a point where they'll actually start putting a belt around her waist. Like, I can't believe Jada Parker has done as well as she's done, been as over as she has been, and she's not and she's had shots. She's been right there, but for her not to have been a champion, it's a little surprising.
Well, I kind of look at it the same way as LA Knight, seeing how over he is on the main roster, and they still just don't seem to have anything, yes, two-time United States champion, but fans want him to win the big one.
Right.
And I think they feel the same way about Jada Parker.
Yep, and it will happen, and that's one of those ones when Jada does get that opportunity, and they do decide to put the strap on her. It needs to be at a larger arena show. It's something that visual will just be so good for her. But the match itself though was good. I was glad to see Carmen back. Back on NXT proper. I was a little concerned when she got popped down to Evolve, but it's good to see her with fresh coat of paint and a new gimmick. The sword thing kind of ran its course. They did the love angle with her and Ashante the Adonis. We all know how you felt about that.
Yeah, we can just move on from that.
Yeah, Ashante got released. He's not there. He's Ashante the Jobless.
Oh, come on, man.
No, he's fine. I'm sure he's doing fine. I'm going to feel really bad if he's not getting booked now. I'm going to feel terrible.
You find out he's homeless.
Oh, that'd be so awful. Don't do that to me.
So after this match, we run into Shiloh Hill, Tatum Paxley backstage, talking about the Bash and Shiloh's dark side. And then in walks Nico Vance to basically tell Shiloh that they were right to kick Tatum out of the culling. And Shiloh, I feel like this is the start of Shiloh's next feud.
Yeah, definitely. I think, they're it's just gonna be just another feud where the calling just gets their asses handed to them by the end of it. But it was interesting to see Nico out here talking to Shiloh without Sean Spears.
Well, they kicked him out of the culling.
Was he? I see. Well, I didn't know if he was like. So, I guess I was just kind of holding on that they were just still going to be like, let him still slump around. But so wait, so should we even call them the calling at this point? Like,
they've called most of their members. Brooks Jensen, there's Sean Spears.
Oh, it's so sad, really. But like, so what's going to happen? So I guess that I guess I remember that happening, but for some reason I guess I didn't think that was a formal thing. But what's going to happen to Sean Spears now?
When he debuted with this character in the culling, I wasn't super into it. I'm still not super into it. Not that I'm saying he needs to go back to throwing tens up in the air, but I think he needs to do something different. Like, I feel like this was different from what he had done before, but he needs to find a new different. I like Sean
what a weird ending to the character, though. What a weird ending. Like, it's basically like, high five me, Izzy! And, like, that cost her the match, and then he and Nico... So weird. Just what an odd way to, like, write him out of that group.
I mean...
You know what? He should just come back as Ty Dillinger next week and just act like nothing happened.
Or he's literally just Sean Spears throwing up tens.
There you go. Just something. I don't know, man. Like, I kind of wonder if it might be getting closer to him for time for him to just kind of move into a trainer capacity. I was never super high on it to begin with, but like you said, he wasn't exactly setting the world on fire with this. I think I enjoyed his work in the calling more than you did, because it made me enjoy him to some respect. But after a point, the calling just became the Izzy Dame show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very similar to when they put Jada Parker with OTM. It was great for Jada, and now OTM's finally, I feel like, getting their footing. But this made Izzy Dame. The calling made Izzy Dame. But now I wonder what they're gonna do with Sean, and I'll be interested to see Nico really stand on his own here. I mean, I'm sure he'll still be associated with Izzy for a bit, but we'll see what he does. Again, not to be disrespectful, that last big round of releases, I thought Nico was going to possibly be in there. It's because they haven't done a whole hell of a lot with him.
Well, and that was what I was wondering. Like, you did say the calling is essentially the Izzy Dame show now. If they hope to catch fire with this Shiloh Hill feud, which even the words coming out of my mouth sound weird, like this could be either man's breakout feud taking on each other in NXT. But yeah, like, at least they're doing something with Nico Vance.
Yeah, and that's fair. They're trying it out, and he's obviously a heel. He's positioned as the heel here. He's going up against Shiloh Hill. He's going to get a negative reaction. They will boo him. Everyone loves Shiloh. I mean, we've been singing the praises of Shiloh Hill for a very long time, going all the way back to the Level Up Adventure days. He's just always had that. So, obviously Shiloh's going to win the feud. I would assume there. I don't think they're going to position Shiloh to lose too much over the next year. I think they know that they have something really, really special with him. But we'll see. I mean, maybe they'll kind of play it a little bit like, he's being a dick, but he's going to try to seduce Shiloh in there. But like, insulting Mr. Hill's good friend, Tatum Paxley, is not the best way to do that. He was upset. He didn't like that he spoke so negatively of Tatum.
Well, and I thought that's why Nico was there, was to try and lure Shiloh into the culling. Like if they do decide to keep the culling stable as opposed to just Nico and Izzy as more individuals with aligned goals, then yeah, they're gonna have to beef up their ranks a little bit, whether it's call-ups from Evolve or other folks in NXT who need something to do.
And they are not at a shortage of wrestlers.
No.
There's a ton of people that they could pull from, like you said, not just from Evolve, but also just from NXT proper. And hell, you know what? Let's get Josh Briggs. There's what we do with Josh Briggs.
I mean, the fact that you would have had both Jensen and Briggs in the culling at different times, I don't know why that's so funny to me.
It just is, though. They gotta do
How's he
something.
been doing down in Evolve?
I'm like four. Gosh, I might actually be 5 or 6. It's been a minute since I've watched it on a weekly basis, so I'm not too sure right now. I am a little bit behind. I get my updates here and there, but I do just sit down and actually catch up. It's not a long show every week, guys. It's an easy watch. It's kind of like how when I tell people they should be watching Level Up every week, it's like there's not an excuse not to. It's an easy watch.
Is it an hour?
Yes. I think there's been some variance on that.
Oh, okay.
But I want to say it's an hour, though, because I think because of the Tubi thing, they have to, like, kind of TV it for the most part. Because it's YouTube. It's Tubi for you guys. Or is it Tubi for us? No, it's Tubi for you guys. For you,
it's YouTube for us.
Okay, I had that backwards. No Tubi in the Great White North.
No, but you know what? I'm good. There's too much already.
Yeah, there's enough. We've got too many streaming services.
And too much wrestling, quite frankly. Like, WWE's got, 6 shows weekly now?
It's a bit much. I will say, one of my favorite interactions going through the Great American Bash Sunday, and there was some confusion over this, and that is one complaint I will register at the CW. They really made it seem as though it was going to be live on their app as well as on their channel. It wasn't. That confused a lot of people. My favorite thing, though, when there was someone who said, well, I can't find it on the app. And I'm like, well, it's, as it turns out, it's being aired on the network, like their literal television channel. And his response was, oh, F that. And I said, yeah, because, nothing says difficult to find like a free show on a television channel that happens to be the same channel the show airs on every Tuesday night. But okay.
Well, does NXT air on the app, though?
Not live. It's the day after.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so okay. They do put it on there. And that was the other thing, too. I thought for sure that the pre-show was going to be on there as well. That was on YouTube. But yeah. So.
Yeah, because I didn't even know they were doing something in the parking lot until they started cutting to it during the event.
I think they planned to do a little more than they did, because they really built it up the week before on NXT. It's like, oh, it's the tailgate. We're going to have Kevin Owens. During the pre-show, they were doing an interview with Tatum Paxley, and they had the audio feeds a little intertwined, and you could hear the parking lot stuff going on. And it was very much the like, hey, like, we need you guys over here. We got dogs and burgers. And, we're going to film some stuff here. We need you guys to be excited and loud. Kind of the whole spiel they give you before they go live or, like, for a bumper. And they never used any of that footage. So I don't know, like, if it didn't go well, like, if they just decided to cut it for time or what. But I don't think they used a lick of footage from the actual, like, tailgate. They just cut in with, like, KO and, what's his name?
Blake Howard.
LaGreca. The other dude, the other guy that was there, the podcast guy, LaGreca.
Oh, who?
What's his last name? What's that guy's name?
Oh, Dave LaGreca.
Yeah. That's Bubba Dudley's buddy, right? That's.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great company he keeps.
So, moving on, we had another backstage segment, very backstage segment heavy. Legacy, and is it pronounced Van Dux?
So I keep saying, I'm not sure. I keep saying Van Du, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm not 100%. And I just realized he's wearing a Dennis Rodman T-shirt. I'm not sure. I guess I'll just go with Dorian for right now. Then I know how that one's pronounced for certain. But this was how that Dorian Van Du or Van Dux. I think they do say Van Dux, to be honest. But this was how he found out that he'll be in a fatal 4-way to perhaps receive an opportunity at the tag team titles.
We'll listen to that ring announcement next week, and we'll learn how to pronounce his name.
Exactly. We'll wait. Now watch them go back and forth, too. Like, it'll be one of those things where Booker T will say it one way. However Booker T says it is probably the wrong way. That's what we
pronounce it the other way.
Yeah.
So, we found out, well, I guess Dorian found out that he's headed for number one contendership match. Another backstage segment followed up, a bit of a NQCC reunion. It was originally Ren and Miles talking backstage, being champions as they are. But then as soon as Tavion came in, she ducked the hell out. She could not get out of there fast enough.
No, she even pointed him out. She's like, Tavion incoming, and she was out. Like, well, he does look kind of despondent right now.
A little bit. Well, and they were talking, and it did seem like they were trying to, still bro around, but I couldn't hear what they were really talking about.
I think
like I know they were talking about some friendship, surviving a title opportunity, and
Tavion was talking about how he was really glad to see Tank sticking up for his ride or die, his best buddy Hank. So I think he was kind of being like, hey, it's really good to see some those guys, they love each other, they're brothers. Tank's sticking up for Hank. He's gonna get one for him. I think that's kind of what he was implying there. Was he's kind of you guys kind of pining for the brotherhood he once had with Miles Bourne.
Which, I mean, do you think that's gonna lead to something? Are we going to see a tag team reunion, or is it just going to go full heel turn for Heights at some point?
I think it is going to end up with a heel turn for Tavion for sure. They probably will tease them, kind of maybe doing a little bit together. I hope they don't do it super fast. I'd like to see maybe Miles help pull Tavion out of this little funk. Maybe get a couple wins. Hell, maybe even do something where they get a shot at the tag titles at some point down the road, and then you have Tavion do it, where it seems a little more unexpected. I think it's going to be expected regardless of when they do it, but right now it'd be it's a little too soon. I want to see him develop the long-term anger and hatred a little bit longer, and it would make sense that Miles would end up being the center of his ire here, as they kind of broke in together in terms of NXT. They trained the same way, they trained with the same people, and they've had very different singles career paths.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely, I think they can definitely do something very good here with it. Like I said, it's a tale as old as time in wrestling. It's jealousy at its core, but I think they can. They'll do a good job with it, and I think this will make Tavion very interesting. He's been another one of those guys. When you come in and your thing is like, I'm an Olympian, it worked really well with Kurt, but then even Kurt Angle had so much personality in there that he didn't have to coast on, I'm a great athlete and an Olympian for very long. So I think Tavion has to find that in him. He has to find that piece. It's kind of what happened to, I feel like Tyra May Steele. She was there. I was
going to bring her up.
So she was there and gone so fast, and she seemed like she had so much potential, but I feel like the personality and the character aspect of it just wasn't really clicking for her, and I feel like they gave up pretty quickly on her though.
Well, and LFG as a whole, like, I feel like they tried to make it meaningful, and it's just not working. Like,
No.
they're not doing anything with Jasper Troy. They've completely released Tyra May Steele. Shiloh Hill
Shiloh's
is
doing
probably
good.
the biggest success story coming out of LFG. Who
But
was the
that's not
female winner
because
of season
of
2?
LSG. But Shiloh's success, I would argue, is not because of LFG really at all.
True. Like, he was starting to get over on Level Up. He was making that connection.
He was showing that personality for sure then. I'm trying to see who won the second season.
They changed her name. Danny Sikelski, I think.
Yeah, that's who it is, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what her name is now. I don't even know if she's
Skylar
on
Ray.
the ball. Oh, okay.
Skylar Ray. Which is probably one of those ones that's talking about names that are hard to remember. That one just sounds like an adult film star. I'm sorry. That happens a lot with wrestling names where there's like that Venn diagram has some crossover there.
Well, hell, I mean, they did that with Paige, Charlotte, and
oh my gosh,
who was the third in that group?
Was it Natty?
No, Natty, I think, was with the Bellas.
Okay, I remember it was like submission sorority or something like that. Like, yeah, someone
PCB.
PCB, yeah, gosh, man.
Now, who was the B? Was that Bianca?
It would have had to have been. Had to have.
No,
No?
I think she was after. Because was when, it was Becky.
It was Becky! Gosh, that makes
right.
kind of less sense.
So, they had that segment, and then the NXT champion comes out to the ring. Tony D'Angelo cuts his promo talking about having to sign waivers just to compete on Sunday because of his eye. Very, very typical babyface champion promo. Calls out any new challengers. While he's on the way to the back, Kendall Gray's music hits. She comes out for commentary for the main event. But before we can get there, Naraku attacks the champion. And I saw this video on Twitter. What originally happened, because you see Tony stumble back through the entranceway. As soon as he gets past the curtain, Naraku hits him with a mist.
So his one good eye
is
now blinded. And he was just starting to be able to reduce the size of those bandages that he had on his face.
Oh yeah, that was crazy on Sunday.
Yeah, looking like that, it's one of my favorite memes I've made now for NXT. But that he's the Phantom of the Opera. It's the Phantom of NXT. But he takes this hit. Trainers.
That red on his face. I'm pretty sure that's the mist.
Yes, yeah. And it was much more. I didn't even notice that until I first saw it on the lips of Naraku. I was like, okay, there was mist, and then I noticed it there as well. But yeah, so I guess not done between the two of them. And really, he was fist bumping Kendall Gray. You had your champions being represented, and then to come out here, spit mist in his one good eye. That's just plain evil.
Yeah, that is very, very evil.
They need to chill it a little bit. I hit the pun a lot. They need to calm down a little bit. Like, I don't think
it feels like that's his catchphrase.
It really is, but like, I don't think Booker T knows that was his prior name, and I don't want him to find out, because if he does, it's going to be every other. Oh man, he's evil. Oh, that was evil. So evil.
Vic mentioned it on commentary when he debuted, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice little tongue-in-cheek. I agree. If Booker knew that evil was his ring name, 100% he would just be like dropping it 7-8 times during a match.
Yeah, without question.
So, like I said, when Kendall Gray walked out, she was on commentary for our main event, which, of course, set up earlier in the night. Tatum Paxley taking on Kendall Jordan. Yeah,
Kalani.
yeah. I don't know why. No, not Kendall Jordan. Oh fuck. Kalani Jordan. I'm tired.
It's K's and J's. There's a lot. NXT has so many names.
And they're all kind of like starting to blend in together. Like we were talking about Callie Armstrong. She comes out during the match and lays out the champion. But that's another K name.
Yeah, which as soon as when they had Kendall coming out for commentary, I'm like, okay, what's going to happen to Kendall? She's not out here for no reason, because it made not the most amount of sense, really, unless she's a scouting potential future competition here. But when they brought her on, I'm like, she's either going to factor into the finish somehow, which I wouldn't have really liked, and it wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense. But this was fine, you know, and again, this is Mr. Stone's fault for telling her, you know, actions speak so loudly, and here she is making an action. So we're definitely going to get some action with them.
And considering it's happening during this match, which feels like it has women's title implications later on down the road, maybe triple threat, maybe fatal four-way.
I would say there's a really good likelihood of that. NXT does love their multi-wrestler championship matches.
That they do, as is evidenced by 2 fatal four-ways next week. But Kalani Jordan picks up the win over Tatum Paxley. Following the match, we see the debut of former CMLL talent Nikki Blackheart, who seems to be going by Martinez.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well. That's what I saw on the old interwebs.
Now, big debut, obviously, taking out a big fan favorite in Tatum Paxley. This women's division is just getting so deep.
Yeah, it is very much, you know, an embarrassment of riches, as it would be, just because there's so many talented people and they keep stacking them in. You know, it's
good thing it's a $1 billion company. Otherwise, I don't know how they pay all these people.
Right? It really, like, it's just, there's only so much television time as well. But this one's been coming. I think people have been expecting her to show up for several weeks now. But yeah, big impact. Do you think this is going to take Tatum off of NXT, or is she going to work a program with Tatum before Tatum heads up north, as it would be?
Well, I do think they're going to wind up working a program together. Like I said at the top of the show, I think Tatum is still sticking around NXT for a little while now, especially given this new feud that she seems to be starting with Martinez. But we'll see. It could just be a one and done match, and then Tatum's gone. We'll have to wait and see. But obviously, things are still happening down in NXT. Lots to talk about. Lots to even next week. Like I said, we've got 2 fatal 4-way matches. Yep. One number 1 contendership for the women's North American title. The other one number 1 contendership for the men's tag titles. Yeah. Solid show, top to bottom, I think.
Oh yeah, and as always, they'll get some more action in there as they go, and we're in between PLEs for them now, so they've got some time to build up and get some good story directions going here. Real quick before we get rolling into our closing stuff here, it just occurred to me I should have known something was going on with that Vikingo match, because they announced it Sunday. And they stopped advertising it. Like, WWE's website did not have it on their NXT preview this morning.
Interesting. I did not realize that.
Yeah. So I feel like, because when I was grabbing some pictures and stuff, it was not on their site as of, that was probably around 3:30 this afternoon when I checked it. And I thought that was odd. I'm like, they only have 3 matches. I'm like, I know they announced 4. So they knew at least as early as this afternoon, that match probably wasn't happening. So,
Which, I mean, I guess for false advertisement, you want to, but obviously card subject to change.
exactly.
But, and there was that comment from someone on Facebook saying that they do have a Vikingo match that was taped to air this Friday against Ray Phoenix.
Oh, wow. Okay. So interesting. That is the danger of pre-tapes right there.
Well, and that's kind of like how we what's his name getting absolutely destroyed by Braun Breaker on Raw, and then he shows up on Level Up like 2 days later.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah.
The guy teaming with what's his name in Chase U?
Duke Hudson.
No.
No.
Chase U 2.0. Isaiah Connors and
Cale Dixon.
yes, Cale Dixon. That's it.
Who is still under contract as far as I know. Mr. Chase is no longer with the company, but yeah, I'm irked by that too.
Well, let's talk about some more depressing things. What do you got for Jobber of the Night?
Jobber of the Night. Oh man. I had a couple contenders on here. It's really hard. Actually, this is just really more of a. I'm not trying to pile on the poor guy because he's hurt right now, but I was bummed that Vikingo match didn't happen. So, maybe a little jobber, maybe from the perspective of the fans. We got jobbed a little bit there as that match didn't happen. I was looking forward to that because I really don't have a proper jobber tonight, man. Like it was a solid show from top to bottom. Everyone did what they needed to do. I think everyone looked good. They achieved what they set out to achieve. So for lack of me really having nothing else to put into that slot, it'll be the fact that we didn't get that match.
I got a proper jobber of the night.
A proper jobber.
This may be controversial, and you may not like the answer, but my jobber of the night tonight is Mason Rook. Now, this is more than just tonight. This is his entire NXT run so far. Like, I think he won that tag team match with Cam Hendricks, and that's it so far. So his NXT run so far is just very much to be desired.
Right.
Hopefully they're going to give him something more. Hopefully they give him his first win soon. Because, I mean, he's another one that the second he debuted, he had such great fan support from the folks in the crowd.
Yeah, and still does. And maybe they know that they're not at major risk of losing that. But yeah, they do need to start giving him a little more meat here because again, they gave him an out for losing. It's the whole numbers game thing, but they need to start building him up a little bit here.
For sure. Well, that brings us to our megastar of the night. Much happier topic. And my megastar tonight, I gotta go with Jackson Drake. He had a phenomenal match tonight. And it's kind of like you talked about earlier. He's just so good at selling. His character work is fantastic. And the all-together vanity project, it just clicks.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do really well in NXT. He's doing well right now. So I'm going to go with Jackson Drake, my megastar of the night.
All right, and it's interesting that's the way you went because I was going with formerly referred to as Swipe Right, but now the rest of the Vanity Project, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. I thought that their tag match tonight was fantastic, and kind of just piggybacking on a lot of what you said. They're all doing just stellar work. Both them as a team, Drake as a singles wrestler, and as an act. They're especially adding in. Oh my God, it's getting late.
Lockwood.
Thank you, Lockwood. Maya Lockwood. Like it's such a great just grouping, and they are all better and stronger for having that group. I look forward to what they do every single week. They're in multiple segments, and they should be. They've got the personalities for it. It's, they're douchey frat guys. Like, they're easy to hate. Their instruments music is so earwormy, but just aggravating at the same time. It's hard. They say, like, songs are, foot tappers. That entrance theme's, that's a fist pumper. You just want to, throw back the Jersey Turnpike. That's a dated reference at this point. Jersey Shore's still on, right? Like, the kids know about the shore.
There's a Jersey Shore Canada.
What? I'm curious. What
So it's obviously not called Jersey Shore Canada,
right?
Because
but
we
what
don't
city is it
actually
in
have
Canada?
a named Jersey Shore. But yeah, no, there's Paramount Plus. I think it was on.
Wow.
I think it tapes out of, or I think they tape it out of Kelowna, British Columbia.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah. Something like that. Like, it's crazy how big the Jersey Shore brand has gotten.
Wow.
And yet I still don't know anything about them. Like, I know 3 of their names, and that's it.
Well, that's probably in large part because Snooki wrestled.
Yeah, WrestleMania tag team match.
Surprisingly acrobatic was Snooki. But
Very true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tyler, that brings us to the end of our show, man. This was, like I said, a great episode of NXT. Love talking NXT with you. Hopefully hopefully the stars will align that we can keep doing this on a weekly basis.
Yes. It is summer, so hopefully we can get back into this and reclaim our NXT talking supremacy here as we've held in the past. I think the cats are chasing Molly around. I have no idea where she is. I just hear like foot paws going
that chattering of dog nails.
Yeah, I just hear cats. Molly, where you at, Molly? Come on. No? Okay, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's where we'll leave you with Molly getting terrorized by cats. CJ Carter 22 on Twitter. I don't really use it much, but I think I retweeted the Twitter stream as we were going live. So yeah, you can give me a follow on there. Tyler, where can the lovely folks here find you?
Hey, the Pro Wrestling Hipster over on Facebook is where I pretty much do everything. I am on Twitter and stuff, but I don't use it for things other than gathering pictures for memes and updates. Give Dirt Sheet Radio a follow as always. And if you could give me and Molly a follow over at the Pro Wrestling Hipster, that would be awesome too. Normally I hold Molly for that plug, but I don't know where she is right now. She's probably being held at bay by the cats. You guys be nice.
She's been teleported to parts unknown, I think.
Oh no, she has no clip into the back room. So I'll have to go get her.
I've been meaning to see that movie, but I'm broke.
It's
right
good.
now,
it's really good. It's good.
All right. Well, thank you again for tuning in. Wonderful show. Hopefully we are back next week, and hopefully you join us. Happy Canada Day Eve, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, Canada. Have a good night, everybody.
Canada.
This concludes our broadcast day. Good night, and God bless.
The sport of professional wrestling.